The candlelight shimmered across the crisp white tablecloth as Alexander Crane tried to focus on the woman seated across from him rather than his 6-year-old daughter perched between them. At 35, Alexander had turned Crane Industries into a billion-dollar tech empire, yet the art of a blind date still escaped him, especially with his daughter acting as an unplanned chaperone. His nanny had called in sick last minute, leaving him with no choice but to bring Emma along. He'd tried to cancel, but the woman, arranged by his assistant, had insisted she didn't mind. Now, sitting here, Alexander wasn't so sure that had been true. The woman was precisely as he'd expected, polished, confident, her designer outfit and sharp tone reflecting years in corporate law. She was beautiful, successful, and exactly what his assistant had promised. But something about her felt rehearsed, hollow, like a performance he'd seen too many times before. Emma hadn't spoken much through dinner. She pushed her food around, her small eyes watching the woman with the kind of quiet judgment that only children seem capable of. And then the merger finalized, the woman was saying, which positioned me perfectly for partnership consideration. Of course, billable hours are everything in my field. Alexander nodded automatically, his attention caught by the server approaching with dessert menus. She was young, late 20s, perhaps, with blonde hair tied neatly back and an effortless grace that outshone her plain uniform. Most importantly, she'd been kind to Emma all evening, remembering her name, offering crayons, checking in with a warmth that didn't feel forced. "Good evening," the server said with a genuine smile. "Would anyone care for dessert? Our chocolate lava cake is divine." Emma's face brightened instantly. "Can I have that, Daddy? Please?" "Of course, sweetheart," Alexander said, glancing up at the server's name tag, Clara. "One lava cake for my daughter, and maybe you could recommend something for us?" "The crème brûlée is lovely," Clara replied. "Or, if you'd prefer something lighter, the lemon tart is excellent." "I'll pass," his date said flatly. "I don't eat dessert. Too many calories." Clara's smile held steady, but Alexander noticed a flicker of sadness in her eyes, gone as quickly as it appeared. "Just the lava cake, then," he said softly. "Thank you, Clara." As she left, Emma leaned toward him. "Daddy, she's nice. The pretty waitress lady is really nice." "She is," Alexander agreed. "Unlike some people," Emma muttered pointedly, eyeing his date. "Emma," he said, embarrassed. But his daughter wasn't done. "She didn't even ask my name. She just talks about boring stuff. The waitress lady asked about my drawings and said I was good at art." "I'm sorry," the woman said stiffly. "I'm just not good with kids." "That's okay," Emma replied with brutal honesty. "You're not very good with grown-ups either. You only talk about yourself." Alexander wanted to vanish under the table. "Emma, that's not polite." When Clara returned with dessert, Emma's face lit up again. "Are you married?" she asked suddenly. "Emma," Alexander gasped. "You can't ask that." "Why not?" she asked innocently. "Aunt Rachel says Daddy needs to marry someone nice, and she's nice." Clara blushed, laughing softly. "No, I'm not married." "Do you like kids?" Emma pressed. "I love them," Clara said. "I actually work at a daycare during the day. This is my second job." "Two jobs?" Alexander asked, curiosity replacing formality. "Three," Clara admitted. "I'm also studying online to finish my degree. It's a lot, but I'm managing." Something shifted inside Alexander's chest. This woman, juggling 3 jobs and school, still had time to show genuine kindness to his child. His date glanced at her phone. "I should go. Early meeting tomorrow. Maybe we can try again without the child next time." She left without a goodbye. Relief washed over him. "Good," Emma said cheerfully. "I didn't like her anyway." Turning to Clara, Emma asked, "Do you have to work much longer?" "Just about an hour more," Clara said kindly. "Can you sit with us? Please?" "Emma," Alexander said, "she's working." "It's slow tonight," Clara said with a smile. "If you don't mind, I can take a short break." "Yes," Emma said, clapping. "Sit here where the boring lady was." Clara laughed and took the seat. For the first time all evening, Alexander relaxed. The conversation flowed easily. Clara told funny stories from the daycare, making Emma giggle, and asked Alexander questions without pretense. "What are you studying?" he asked. "Early childhood education," she said. "I want to be a teacher. It doesn't pay much, but I love working with kids. They're honest, funny, and see the world differently." Emma's eyes sparkled. "Daddy, can we keep her?" "Emma," Alexander groaned. Clara laughed. "I'm not a puppy, sweetheart." "But you're perfect," Emma said earnestly. "You're nice and pretty and you make Daddy smile." "He never smiles with the other ladies." Alexander met Clara's gaze, a spark of something real passing between them. "Sorry, she's very direct." "I like direct," Clara said softly. "It's refreshing." She glanced at her watch. "I should get back to work. But thank you, this was lovely." "Wait," Alexander said before he could stop himself. "Would you ever consider having coffee with me? Not as a customer and server, just two people." Clara hesitated. "I don't know. We come from very different worlds." "What if that doesn't matter?" he asked gently. "What if kindness and honesty mean more than background or money?" "And I'll come too," Emma chimed in. "We're a package deal." Clara laughed, her eyes glistening. "Okay," she said quietly. "Coffee sounds nice." Over the months that followed, Alexander and Emma became part of Clara's world. He helped fund her degree discreetly, so her pride remained intact. He visited the daycare often, watching her with the children, feeling his heart open in ways it hadn't in years. Emma, self-appointed matchmaker, never stopped scheming to bring them closer. Clara filled their home with laughter and warmth. She taught Alexander that success isn't measured by profit margins but by moments that make you feel alive. She taught Emma that kindness costs nothing, yet changes everything. A year later, Alexander proposed, not in a grand restaurant, but at Clara's daycare, surrounded by Emma and 24 cheering children. The ring was extravagant, but what made Clara cry was Emma's handmade card that read, "We're keeping you forever." Sometimes the people we need most appear when we least expect them, carrying dessert menus and a smile that reminds us what love looks like. And sometimes, it takes a child's unfiltered honesty to see what we've been too blind to notice. If this story warmed your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales of unexpected love, childlike wisdom, and second chances. Tell us in the comments about a time a child's honesty changed your perspective, or when love found you where you least expected. Your story might be the light someone else needs today.